Yep, we're talking about this franchise again.
Star Wars! Nothing but Star Wars!
Happy Star Wars Day, folks. Nick Polomanakos here, back with yet another video essay. Welcome back to my channel, and as you can probably guess by today's date, May 4th, you can probably see that we're going to be talking about... As you all know, I live and breathe this franchise, loved it since I was a kid, and I'm probably one of the dozen people that loves each cinematic trilogy, but today we're not going to be talking about any of the trilogies in particular. We are talking about one in relation to something. Today, I thought it would be really cool to discuss... Clone Wars, baby! So Star Wars The Clone Wars first debuted in 2008 with a less than stellar feature film that wasn't really supposed to be a movie, and it was immediately followed up with a pretty solid first season television show. Over the course of 7 seasons, though, the Star Wars The Clone Wars TV series, the quality is just on the up. It's been fantastic. It's some of the greatest storytelling, character development, narrative development ever seen in a Star Wars project. And so, this being Star Wars Day, I figured I would talk about one of my favorite arcs from the series. You know, I was thinking about the Siege of Mandalore, I was thinking about the Mortis trilogy, but there's been one arc, one 4-episode arc, that it just hasn't left my brain since I first saw it as a kid. You know, I first saw it, I guess, when I was 14 years old, you know, when the season dropped. So, without further ado, my name's Nick Polomanakos, and I'm here to explain to this wonderful YouTube community why the UMBARA arc slaps so damn hard, and why it is one of the greatest pieces in all of Star Wars. Let's dive into it, shall we? When watching Clone Wars as a kid, you know, I did keep up with it, but not like I would as an adult. If it was on Teletoon, the Canadian equivalent to Cartoon Network, I'd watch it, but I wouldn't say I was keeping up with it religiously and trying to watch every episode in order. I bring this up because the one arc I very much remember watching when I was younger, like I said, was the UMBARA arc. Because dude, that arc was one of the first ones that truly showed me how dark Star Wars could get. Expert storytelling, stunning visuals, and at least for me, it was the first memory I have where I saw the clones as real people, not just characters in a suit. I know there were a number of episodes before this arc that also exemplify this point. You know, the episodes Rookies and The Deserter come to mind. But again, for me, it's the UMBARA story that truly cemented the importance of clones in this universe. The arc kicks off with Anakin Skywalker and Clone Captain Rex leading a battle against the Umbaran insurgent forces. However, as the battle concludes, Anakin is called away to Coruscant, leaving his clones in the command of another Jedi, Pong Krell, who is quite literally the opposite of everything Anakin is. Brute, disrespectful, and he sees the clones as nothing more than expendable soldiers. He doesn't care how many clones die along the way, just as long as the battle is won. It's a very bleak, yet real view on how detrimental war truly is.
War! Yeah! What is it good for? Absolutely nothing!
Soldiers risk their lives to defend their team, their company, their nation, their republic, but most are seen by superiors as nothing more than holders of a weapon. And that's exactly the kind of person that Krell is, despite somehow being a Jedi. Over the course of the story, Rex and his team begin to realize how dangerous Krell is, with most fearing for their survival. What this series does so well is humanize characters that were otherwise nameless in those movies. As the series progressed, most clones are named and given distinct personalities, and we see all of that on display here. The clones were created to blindly follow orders, yet here they actively argue over the fact that Krell will most likely get them killed if they keep following his direction. While Rex initially fights in favor of Krell, while fellow Clone 5s fights against, Rex ends the discussion by saying that the soldiers dying is simply a price of war. Do you know how depressing that is to hear as a 14-year-old? These characters, these brothers, basically coming to terms with the fact that they were bred for a single purpose, to fight someone else's war. And they continue on because it's all they know. And if they're going to fight, they're going to do it as brothers. And where is Krell through all this? On top of a cliff, calling the shots, nowhere near the violence that the clones are experiencing. It's straight up maddening, but expertly plays into the reveal that he is the Ark's true big bad. The way this arc builds Krell as the main villain it's just stellar. When we first meet him, he's obviously a more rough around the edges character, but he's still a Jedi. So as the audience, we immediately let our guard down. Up until this point, I guess aside from maybe Count Dooku, we haven't really seen a Jedi go rogue or at the very least, channel darker instincts to get a job done. But Krell, he's an entirely different beast. But again, at first, he kinda just seems like a dick. Oh, how wrong we were. At first glance, you'd think Krell is probably another of Palpatine's puppets in his grand scheme to take over the galaxy. But he isn't. He isn't even a Sith. He's doing this all on his own, in hopes that, Count Dooku will welcome him with open arms when he boots the Republic from Umbara. He has apparently foreseen the fall of the Jedi, and says he was never one to take to their dogmatic ways to begin with. With Krell, you truly start to feel the despair that comes with the prequels. There are a lot of episodes of Clone Wars that feature happy endings and characters smiling, but we all know where this story eventually lead. The clones will turn on the Jedi, and the war will be lost because of this shriveled up raisin. And that's what makes the overarching story of Clone Wars, and this arc in particular, so damn heartbreaking. Fives himself says it in the 3rd episode.
Where is the honor in marching blindly to our deaths?
You will if you support the system we fight for.
I do support it. I do. But I am not just another number. None of us are.
Rex is pushed further and further to his breaking point, seeing the impact that Krell's decisions have had on his men. I couldn't believe the emotion I was feeling from characters who weren't even named a few years prior, and yet here we are. After yet another of Krell's reckless orders is given, Rex's men decide to take matters into their own hands, formulating a secret plan to take over the Umbaran capital. Rex finds out, and he supports them, but he chooses against helping them for now. Again, this is Star Wars, so for me, I figured the clones would go in, take over the capital with some heroic scene, and Krell would realize the error of his ways, and everybody would go home happy. But once again, I was proven very, very wrong. As expected, the mission was a success. Fives, Jesse, the clones, they return, but Krell is less than thrilled with the clones who disobeyed him. The fear truly sets in here for me as Krell towers over Rex's men. He declares that both Fives and Jesse, for their role in disobeying him, will be executed. And I'm just sitting here like, hold the phone. Isn't this a kid's show? What is happening? Krell is really about to execute clones? Yup! He orders Rex to get a firing squad together, but all of the clones decide against killing their fellow brothers. They go to face Krell, but are notified of another battle taking place concurrently. This is truly the definition of the calm before the storm, not only because the final episode of this arc is literally titled Carnage of Krell, but because we know that this dude is literally capable of anything. We're back on edge as the clones head back into battle, and Krell tells Rex that the enemy will disguise themselves as clones, and he tells him to be careful. But why would he do that? The last 3 episodes haven't showcased that the Umbarans would disguise themselves as clones. Something is wrong, and Rex is about to realize it. During the fight, the clones come to the horrific realization that they've been fighting each other, and a fallen soldier reveals to Rex that Krell was the one who ordered this battle to take place. And at this point, all bets are off as the clones unite to take Krell down once and for all. Now this is the moment where it is revealed that Krell has been the villain all along, which I had spoken of earlier. What I didn't say is that this moment features genuinely stupendous action set pieces. The animation for Clone Wars has never been better, as we see Krell wield 2 double-sided lightsabers and absolutely tear through the clones. The battlefield, once drenched in a calm blue, Then a mix of blue and red is now fully bathed in a malevolent red, with Krell unleashing his full might against the clones. But as we know from the films, the clones are in fact able to keep up with their Jedi opponents, and thanks to some intuitive thinking, they are able to take Krell down. Now here's where things get really, let's just say, interesting. Krell reveals why he turned on the clones and the Jedi, and the clones are left with the matter of what to do with this traitor. It's an ethical dilemma, as the clones realize that Krell is too dangerous to be kept alive. And in times of war, things aren't always black and white, and Rex knows that with Krell alive, more casualties will occur because of his actions. As Rex puts Krell on his knees to carry out the execution, Krell mocks him for not being able to pull the trigger. And as he begins to monologue, it is quickly cut off by a shot to Krell's chest. But it wasn't Rex who shot him. It was another clone, Dogma, someone who had blindly followed Krell throughout this entire arc, realizing too late what Krell had done to his brothers. He heartbreakingly says it needed to be done, and the carnage of Krell officially ends. I think the best part about Star Wars The Clone Wars is the fact that it has always been able to walk a fine line between lighthearted Star Wars adventures and more mature themes. But the UMBARA arc in particular marked a turning point for me for this acclaimed series. As the arc ends, Fives excitedly says that the mission to take UMBARA for the Republic was still a success, but Rex, seeing the damage done to his soldiers, he finally questions the point of this war. And while Fives responds that, the war will end, Rex goes, what are we even going to do afterwards? The clones know nothing else other than to fight in a war. They were bred for this purpose, and it's heartbreaking to realize. Most will never know a life outside of the Clone Wars, and the ones that do are either forgotten about, hunted down, or probably made to serve the Empire. The UMBARA arc has some of the best action, music, animation, and story beats of this entire series, and will always be one of the most memorable aspects of the entire Star Wars franchise. Hello, stupendous YouTube community. Thanks so much for checking out my latest video essay. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find me on Twitter at NickManakos, and I've been Nick Pulmanakos, wishing you all an amazing Star Wars day, and may the 4th and may the Force be with you. Later, everybody.